Have you heard of Puig Brands? Maybe not. But this relatively unknown luxury company just set the stock market on fire. Today, we're going to break down the story of its dramatic rise and how just one rumor created billions in value, seemingly overnight.
So, let me ask you this. What could possibly make a company's stock leap 16% in just one day? I mean, that's not just a good day at the office, right? That is a massive market-moving event. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now.
Yeah, look at that number. 16%. Let that sink in one day. A jump that big, that's the kind of thing that makes everyone on Wall Street stop what they're doing and pay attention. And for Puig Brands, well, this single number changed the entire game.
Okay, let's dive into our first section, a stock on fire. We're going to unpack this sudden surge. So what lit the match here? What was the catalyst?
You know, this wasn't some slow and steady climb. No, this was an explosion. The whole thing was triggered by one single, powerful catalyst, a piece of news that sent shockwaves through the entire beauty industry and pretty much caught everyone off guard.
All right, section 2. And here it is, the $40 billion rumor. This was the catalyst. We're talking about news of a potential merger so huge, it doesn't just move a stock. It has the power to completely reshape the global luxury landscape.
So, who are the two heavyweights in this story? Well, on one side, you've got Puig. They own some iconic brands you've definitely heard of. Jean Paul Gaultier, Charlotte Tilbury, Rabanne. They're a real powerhouse, especially in fragrances. And on the other side, the global giant Estée Lauder. The rumor that kicked all this off was that back in March 2026, these two were in early talks to merge.
And just to put the scale of this into perspective, look at this number. Over 20 billion euros in potential combined annual revenue. We're not just talking about creating a bigger company. We're talking about creating a new global behemoth, one that could go toe-to-toe with giants like L'Oreal. This could be the start of a whole new wave of consolidation in the premium beauty space.
So, what did investors see? Well, the takeaway was this phrase, massive upside optionality. Okay, what does that actually mean in plain English? It just means they believe that putting these two companies together would create something far more valuable than the two of them are apart. It's that potential, that option for explosive growth that really drove that 16% surge.
Okay, so this brings up a huge question, right? Was this all just hype built on a rumor, or was Puig already a really solid company just waiting for its moment in the spotlight? Let's dig into the fundamentals before all this news broke.
So check this out. Everybody knows Puig for their fragrances, right? And yeah, that makes up about 72% of their business. But what's really interesting here is that they were already diversifying, pretty smartly I might add. You can see makeup and skincare are already becoming a big part of their portfolio. That's a super smart strategic move.
And the numbers? They totally back this up. We're looking at 2025 here, long before any merger talk. Puig was putting up really solid figures. Revenues were up almost 8%. Net profit? A very healthy 12% jump. And here's the kicker. A lot of that growth was coming from those newer segments, with makeup growing over 10%. That's fantastic.
So the conclusion here is pretty clear, isn't it? Even while its main market, fragrances, was starting to slow down, Puig was outperforming. They weren't just treading water. They were delivering strong, balanced growth. This tells us the company had a really solid foundation long before any of these rumors started flying around.
All right, next up, the perfect storm. Because look, a strong company plus a blockbuster rumor, that's a powerful mix. But this merger news didn't just happen in a vacuum. It landed in what you can only call a perfect storm of really favorable conditions. First off, let's just look at how Puig was doing compared to the competition. While its rivals, companies like Coty and even Estée Lauder, were struggling with weaker sales, Puig was looking like a real winner. They were holding their margins steady, outperforming their peers. Basically, they were the standout player in a pretty tough sector. But wait, there's more. You also had a new CEO coming in, signaling a real focus on M&A. The market was also starting to look at the company way more positively since its IPO in 2024. Then you throw in strong global demand for premium beauty and the fact that the stock was already on an upward trend. You see? It was a true convergence of catalysts, all pushing in the exact same direction. Okay, so we've got a strong company caught in a perfect storm. That brings us to our final section, future risks and rewards. What does all this actually mean for Puig going forward? And, what could go wrong?
This right here. This really sums up the incredible shift in how the market sees this company. Think about it. Before the rumor, Puig was just this kinda uncertain IPO tied to a slowing market. But after? Whoa, the entire narrative flipped. Now it's seen as a premium luxury consolidator, a potential takeover target with huge M&A upside. That's a complete re-rating of the stock.
But we have to be realistic here. It's not all smooth sailing. There are definitely some big headwinds on the horizon. For one, the merger is still just a rumor. It could totally fall apart. Their main fragrance market is still weakening, and then there are macro risks like tariffs. Plus, with the stock price so high now, the valuation itself becomes a risk. It's harder to see big gains from here.
So at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one question. Is Puig's incredible rise a story of true substance, or is it just a story of speculation built on a single rumor? Is this a fundamentally strong company that just got the attention it deserved, or is it a bubble waiting to pop? You know, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and watching how this all unfolds is going to be absolutely fascinating.